And he was talking about discipleship and mentoring, but one of the things that he talked about was a succession plan. He was talking about how, a pastor and what God uses him for is not just when he is at the church leading the church, but he really talked about, what kind of church is he going to lay down for the next generation. In fact, he actually retired. He didn't retire. I don't want to use the word retired anymore. I want to talk about the second phase of life. He finished being a lead pastor at his church. He started, I think when he was he led for 25 years, and then around 63, he gave it over to the next generation. And of course, he grew it from 50 in Singapore to about 5,000 members. We're no longer like that at our church. But so he ended up giving over his church to two other pastors that actually was leading two different sites. And when I heard him share about, investing your pastoral energy for, succession plan, it was the first time I've ever heard it. But afterwards, I couldn't get rid of it, because if you know me, I was thinking in the next 10 years, maybe we'll plant another church or send out more missionaries or, by God's grace, bring more people to Christ, grow. But when he talked about this idea of succession, it really kind of put a seed on me, and I couldn't really get rid of it. Started reading about it, started praying about it, and it wasn't an explosive seed. It was just something that was planted. And it started around July 2019, and I started praying. Well, January 19, 2020, I was invited to go to a Symphony Young Adult Retreat. Symphony is our, daughter church that we planted about 10 years ago. And Pastor Doug, that's his daughter, Audrey, and, he was leading it. He is the pastor of the young adult ministry, at Symphony. And, just kind of come with me. I wasn't actively thinking about succession, but it was on there, and I was there speaking. Annette and I was there, and she actually did a seminar. And as I was there, in my mind, I remember thinking, wow, if I were to let go and get ready to start, the succession plan for UC site and mainline, Pastor Doug would be a, on paper, a perfect candidate. I might have shared his story before with you, but Pastor Doug became Christian at our church. He served here. His wife, Cindy, was part of our church. They both were on, I think, missions teams and many other things. And then we sent them out to Symphony as one of the team. And then they were dating at the time, and then they got married. And he actually worked for a consulting firm for about 5 years. And then he felt called to full-time ministry, and he became pastor at Symphony Church. And I was thinking, in my mind in January, like, it would be awesome if someone like him could come and actually, think about, being the next generation pastor at UC, because he knows GCC and he also knows Symphony, and there's some similarity as well as differences. So I started praying. And thinking like, maybe he could do it. Well, I know I'm going long here, but please follow with me. Around the summer when COVID was going on in July, I ended up calling Pastor Barry, after another 6-7 months of prayer, and saying, hey, Pastor Barry, what do you think if I ask Pastor Doug to come and be part of GCC to, slowly become the lead pastor at the UC site? Pastor Barry said, I can ask Pastor Doug, but right now he is really thinking about planting a church in the DC area. And I said, hey, all you can do is ask, and that's all I can ask for. So around, I don't know, probably like August, he ends up asking Pastor Doug and saying, "Hey, Pastor Young is saying, like, would you be interested in coming and actually, taking over the UC site into the future?" And Pastor Doug, again, he was actually going to go plant the church, and he started praying, and he said, "You know what? I wouldn't mind talking with Pastor Young." So actually, starting probably September, me and Pastor Doug has been talking very regularly, almost every week, about what God's plan is for him and where I see GCC going into the future. And actually, in the midst of that, he felt that God was calling him to come to GCC and partner with us to really be kind of the next generation pastor for the UC